The Green Knight is a new A24 movie now playing in theaters, which I saw. And I'll be honest, I went into this one very blind. I kind of heard of the director. Don't really know how to pronounce his name. The only film of his I'd seen previously to this film was the Peach Dragon remake, which I didn't think was very good. It was the better of the Disney remakes, but not a good movie. Um, at least from what I remember, anyways. And so I saw the trailer for this one. Didn't really understand what this film was about. Kind of looked at some of the posters; they seemed cool. But for the most part, I went to this movie blind. Didn't really know anything about this movie except it's called The Green Knight and it's apparently really good because A24 movies tend to be really good. At least the wide released ones, anyways. Um, and the ones that people talk about the most. And this film is about. It's a medieval fantasy movie about this guy who's on a quest. And he's on a quest to gain honor for himself and others. That's kind of the movie. That's pretty simple what this movie is. And this movie is very, very. I don't know how to explain it in the sense. It's very metaphorical. And this movie. Now, when I just described that to you, you might think, oh, that's a pretty straightforward story. You've seen it before. And you've not. This film is very metaphorical. It's very allegorical. It is a beautiful story. At several points, I cried throughout this movie because a lot of the scenery in this movie was gorgeous. The cinematography, it was great. There's a shot specifically involving giants and the camera being kind of flipped a little bit that blew my mind in the theater, and I almost teared up at that part. And it's just a deeply human story about this one man who goes on this journey to essentially be a knight, essentially be a king, find his worth, find his meaning. And does he by the end of the movie? I don't really know. And that's kind of where the story ends, where this film goes. It's a beautiful film. I will say that some people are going to have issues with the pacing in this movie. I did not. I think this movie was perfectly paced. I think every scene moved at the right length. But I know a lot of people are not going to like a movie like this. If you don't like a movie that is about one character kind of wandering, going from scene to scene, but it doesn't move very quick, and there's a lot of dialogue and slow moments. If you don't like that type of thing, you're not going to like this movie. But I didn't think it hurt a film like this. I thought it was fantastic and a 10 out of 10 movie. This is easily in my top 5 favorite films I've seen this year. I've seen over about 300 films this year so far, and we're basically into August. I've seen a lot of movies this year. I will say this was an awkward movie watching now at like the end of July. It came out at the end of July next to Jungle Cruise, which is very awkward, which I will have a review for that probably Monday, so I apologize I wasn't able to get out and see that one. And this one I wanted to see more of the Jungle Cruise anyways. But this film was very good and I adored it. But why it was so awkward seeing this movie is not only was it released to a movie that is very opposite of the type of movie this is, but also it's a movie that has to do a lot with Christmas and it has a lot of fall kind of muted colors. Yet it came out like basically in July, which is like summertime. And it just felt very strange to me. I know there's like Christmas in July, but like this obviously this film is more like talking about December Christmas as we know it. And yeah, I mean, it felt like a film that should have probably come out close to October, November, December, somewhere in there. Maybe you don't want to put out Christmas time because here's the truth about Christmas time: that's a big money making season. But The Lighthouse and Jojo Rabbit, some other indie movies, those came out last year. Not last year, back in 2019, towards the end of the year. I don't see why they couldn't have done that with this film. It's a very strange choice to put this one out now, and also means that it might get Oscar snubbed, which I think a lot of the actors in this film deserve some nominations, especially the lead in this movie, which I'm forgetting the name of. I apologize. He was fantastic, and I think he deserves at least a Best Actor nomination for this film. The cinematography, I think, deserves a nomination. It was beautiful. But I think it's like this film might get snubbed because of its release window, which is unfortunate. That's why, if you ever notice that a lot of films get released, award nominated movies, they get released towards the end of the year. Why? Because, well, the Academy wants to nominate those movies, and so it's kind of the award season, right? Because the end of the year is when you start doing the award season. So that's why that happens. So it's always like, it's kind of interesting that this film came out now. But it was a great watch. I think it's great, and I do think if you can go out to a theater, it's worth it. If you can't, buy it on home video, rent it digitally, whatever you want to do. But it was a fantastic film. Everyone should go see this film if you are able to, and if you like films like this, it's definitely worth a watch. I think it's a goddamn masterpiece.